Hello, my name is Crystal Petrie, and you are watching the Crystal Petrie Podcast Season 3. On today's episode, I have a great one. I have a husband and wife duo, Chris and Rachel San Roman. Hopefully, I pronounced that last name correctly.
You did.
They are turning investing in real estate into a family business. And today they're going to teach all of us, including me, how to find deals off market, how to lock in contracts, and how to run the numbers and make smart investments. Welcome to the show, Chris
Thank
and
you.
Rachel. How are
Thank
y'all?
you.
It's good. How about
Good.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. You
Excited
know,
to be
as
here.
I was preparing for this podcast, I realized that the two of you are my first husband and wife duo on the podcast.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. That's a
Awesome.
great
So
thing.
you guys are making history.
That's right. We
You are
appreciate it. Really
making
excited about that.
history.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I love it. Okay, so Rachel and Chris, where in the world are you?
We are in the Houston area. So,
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's get started on this. First, tell me, how did the two of you, husband and wife, get into real estate and turning that into a family business?
so it started a few years ago when I was tired of not seeing my husband.
Okay.
We were just a really busy family, really work and everything was consuming us. And the boys would wake up and dad wasn't home. They'd go to sleep. Dad wasn't home. And of course, not in a bad way, but it is what it is. And I just told Chris, we need something better.
Mhm.
And I went ahead and took a leap of faith and decided to start this real estate business. And thank God it's been great so far. So that's how we started. And it was all just to be together more often and build something together for our future.
And since you started the real estate, Rachel and Chris, have you been home more often? Are you able to see and spend more time with your family?
I will say I'm still allowed in the house, right? My bed, so she's not tired of me yet. At least I don't see it. But yeah, definitely, it's been a change. I was working a lot and always gone, and just my hours would fluctuate. There was no set hour, so anytime they called, they had to go. And I'm sure a lot of people that are going to listen can understand that. But it was a very, very different and very scary in the beginning. But it's yes, we've seen the boys. I've seen the boys grow up and we're involved in everything. So yes.
Well, congratulations. You guys took a risk and it sounds like it paid off. So, because of your risk, we are going to learn, and hopefully, our risk is not as dramatic as
Yeah.
the risk for the two of you. My first question, or rather, my second question, I guess, we're going to talk about finding properties outside of MLS.
Mhm.
What is MLS?
That's a system that realtors use to be able to post publicly houses that are for sale in your area in different states, cities. And that's how most people start in trying to, see which houses are on the market for a long time, and they start making offers to that. And there's different lists that we use and that we go after. But the MLS, and that's what that is specifically, is if you find a realtor, say, hey, I want this kind of house, this price point in this area, and that's what they do. So is it off market? No, but it's hoping, that's how some people are able to buy properties.
When you say, Rachel, that you guys are finding homes off market, so off of MLS, off of that list that real estate agents are, they're putting houses on, they're selling houses off of that. What do you mean that you're finding houses off market, and how can you find houses off market?
So there's quite a bit of different ways, but we usually start off with purchasing a list of some sort. And this list will contain things like foreclosures, pre-foreclosures. It'll include probate lists, code violations, tax delinquencies, things like that. So this is really kind of where we start off, what we target, and decide, okay, this is what we're going to go after this month. Mm-hmm. And we will market to these people to wear purple in the face. And that's where we get started. We just market a lot to these different lists because most of these people have a need for something, right? They need help somehow. So that's where we start, and that's where we get a lot of our off-market leads.
Now, the list that you're referring to, is this something that people can Google and then purchase for themselves, or do they need to be affiliated with a real estate agency of some sort?
No, they are public lists. They could go to their counties and so forth. We ourselves like to purchase a list from Real Estate IQ. You could just Google Real Estate IQ. Okay. And you can purchase a list, and it provides you with all of those things I listed, whether it's pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, code violations, probates, and so forth. So that's a great start. That's actually how we started. It hasn't strayed us wrong, so we continue to use that list up to today.
Yeah, maybe we can send you a link afterwards, so that way we definitely do have a great relationship with that business, and we want to make sure, because they too, I mean, we always give each other examples or real life situations. Hey, well, maybe this didn't work, and maybe can you consider doing this? So we have a great relationship with them, and we don't mind. But then there's your cities, states, like she said, everything, fortunately and unfortunately, all of it's public information. If you're going to go through a divorce, it's public information. Foreclosures. So most people are like, how do you know? Well, it's no secret.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of good and bad, right?
You're right. You are right. Okay, so Rachel, you were talking about marketing, and Chris, you can jump in here. The two of you sell homes, correct?
Yes, we buy and sell houses. Yes.
Okay. How does direct mail marketing play a role in finding motivational sellers? So how do you market to find motivational sellers and buyers?
Sure. We start with the public list, the list of certain. I think at the beginning, what we did was we mailed or we advertised to everyone. Our audience was just anyone and everyone who would listen to us. Okay. And as time goes on, then you start seeing what you're spending and how that turns, what you're spending compared to what you're closing. Then you start getting comfortable with certain foreclosures or probates or, tax liens or whatnot. Then you kind of hone in on that. And starts with the list, right? Starts with the list. You get comfortable with one certain area, and then you just attack that list, and then you start building the relationships, rapport with the homeowners. This isn't a one and done, though. This isn't, hey, I'm just going to send a mailer to you, Crystal, in hopes that you call me. No, this is something that you have to follow up. Now, again, we may not get the deal up front the first time with the first, second postcard, but this business is all about follow up.
Oh, okay. So what about cold calling, knocking on doors? Is that something that you use? Is that something that's beneficial? Because as I'm saying it out loud, I feel like cold calling and knocking on doors just doesn't work anymore. But I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. No, knocking on doors does work. Just maybe about last month, we got a property under contract, and it was because we showed up to the person's house. We were actually the ones that showed up in person while they were talking to somebody on the phone. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a funny story, kind of not so funny because we made the other person a little bit upset. But the seller indeed ended up going with us because we showed up in person. So
okay.
They said, I mean, you took the time out of your day to actually be here and be present. So we feel it works.
Yeah, just understand that whenever you show up in person, now you get two responses, right? Get off our lawn, Or now I
Mm.
would say, if you haven't been cussed out yet, then you haven't done it enough, right? You get the response to where either they're going to be grateful and thankful that you're there, or they're just going to run you off. But I would say from experience, you kind of, it's almost double-edged sword, right? Nothing works, but everything works, and it's just the season, the time, the week, the day. Everything really plays a role in all of that.
And calls work too. I mean, you mentioned calls.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's more convenient, right? Sometimes people don't have the time to answer the door. Everybody lives really busy lives. So if you just call somebody real quick, they may have time to answer. They may not have time to answer. Maybe they don't like seeing people in person. There's just all kinds of different people out there, and even all kinds of different investors that like certain things and don't like certain things. So everything works as long as you're being consistent.
Right.
Okay. Now, when you are cold calling and knocking on doors, are you wanting to purchase these people's property? Is that what your end goal is?
It depends. It depends. We got into this business because, of course, we wanted properties. We wanted to flip properties and sell them, and all the fun stuff. But we soon realized that a lot of these people really need help. And what I mean by that, especially the foreclosures, behind on taxes, some of them really don't know, right? So we work a couple of different markets. We work, of course, the English speaking, I should say, and then the Latinos, the Spanish speakers. A lot of those can't read English, and they receive a lot of this stuff in English. And then they call the banks but have no idea what the people are saying, and both in English too, because if you're not in this business, the terminology, all of that, I mean, you can get mixed up, right? You think you understand it one way, and then you agree to something, and then it's just not what you expect. And I think that's what it is. And I never fault or make anyone feel guilty for not understanding the terminology, because we always say, if you ask me to do your job, whatever it is, you have to teach me, right?
Mm.
Show me what it is. So whenever we
Yes.
go to a house, so no, initially it was to purchase houses, but we quickly saw that a lot of people, these people really need help to trying to save their houses, maybe other alternatives. Then if nothing works, then yes, we can be, like we say, plan B or C or D, whatever it is.
How do you, oh, go ahead, Rachel.
Sorry. I was just going to tell you, just recently, we've been speaking to a gentleman who is losing his house, and we helped him get a loan modification. And in the end, after his period and so forth of his trial period for this loan modification, he's decided, no, I can't keep it. I don't want to keep it. So then we're going to go ahead and purchase it from him.
Okay.
So it's things like that. But we always, I feel, lead with trying to help them to find the best solution for them. And then the best solution always does come out in the end.
Yeah, and people know if you're authentic or not, right? They know if you're just here to, get their house or try to, like they say, screw them over. And then those that really know you, then really understand that you're trying to help them. And so the conversation changes.
How do you build relationships with these people, and how do you gain their trust? Because, some of the things that you stated earlier, you send out the mailers, you do the follow-ups, knock on the doors, maybe do the calls as well. But how do you get people to trust you and build a relationship with you to sell you their house, or even take advice from you about loan modifications and things like that?
Good.
I mean, honestly, I think our approach is always just being honest. I think people, especially in this situation, they have some type of feeling, something, whether or not you're telling the truth or not. So we just go in there and be completely honest. Sometimes it's funny because we say, do we tell them too much? But no, I mean, they just are lost. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do at this point in time. And they really do just need somebody to be helpful, and sometimes even just empathize with them and listen to them. I had a wife a few years back. Oh, poor her. Her husband had left. It was out of the blue. It was a crazy situation. And she hadn't recovered. She was a stay-at-home mom, hadn't worked, and didn't know what she was going to do. And it was literally just a matter of listening to her
Mhm.
and listening to how bad her situation was and placing myself in her shoes to where she was like, okay, we can move forward.
And did she keep the home or did she end up selling it to you?
She ended up selling it to us.
Okay, well, congratulations for you. Maybe not so much her in that situation. Um, how do you approach community networking with what you do, like local businesses, churches, barbershops, different things like that to find potential sellers? Or do you use that route?
Oh, for sure. So networking is and leads are kind of the lifeline. You know, I remember when I was younger, my dad would say we used to have middle school dances, right? When we could afford it, my dad would give us some money, so we'd go. And he says, "And I don't want you holding up that wall, standing there and watching everybody else have fun." Right? And it's funny because we tell our boys that too, right? We say, "Hey, if you're out, if you're gonna get up, drive somewhere, right? Get dressed, drive somewhere, and go to a function. Don't just stand there or sit there by yourself." Right? And this is the number one thing that we teach our students and preach, because if you're sitting there by yourself, no one's going to want to talk to you, because if you don't want to approach them, they're not going to want to approach you.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me when I say it's scary, especially in the beginning. And those of you listening, if you're not comfortable with it, just do it. The truth is, you may never see these people again, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may not ever see them, but that feeling that is adrenaline rush, if you will, it's just so different. So when we go networking, we're there really to network, to see who we can partner with, see what business we can do. Yes, we're going to learn, you and me, and we may not, you and I, may not do business right away, but showing up, getting to know one another, and networking is very different. And it's not just, hey, give me your number and give me a
Mm-hmm.
business card. No, it's following up. Call them the next day, maybe wait a day or so, depending, maybe go to lunch together or coffee, and really seeing if you can, and not go out with every single person, right? Don't just meet 10 people and set up, appointments. And some of them you will get a good feeling about, and you want to get to know better, and they'll want to get to know you. And those are the people. And just start there, just baby steps. Just get a business card, at least at the minimum.
Mm-hmm. What about social media? How does social media help with finding homes off market, off of the MLS?
So we have actually forced ourselves to use social media a little bit more. I feel we're old sometimes, and
For yourself.
yeah, but I feel like we are, because we didn't grow up necessarily with social media around. So, but it really lets people know what we do. It's so funny because no matter how much we talk, and we talk a lot, sometimes people are oblivious to what we do. So it seems like some people pay attention more to you on social media than they do in real person, in real life. So letting people know, hey, this is what I do. This is what I need help with. If you know someone, or if you're in a particular situation that you need help, let me know. I can help you. And like I say, we tell it to people all the time in person, but I think sometimes saying it on social media, it clicks more with people.
Yeah.
So it's definitely important. It has made a big difference, and we encourage it all the time.
Let's talk about getting these homes under contract. When I say that term under contract, what does that mean?
That means you are going to a property, right? No matter which list it's in or on, you're allowed inside the house, into their home, and you're talking to them, speaking to them about whatever situation is going on, seeing if there is a way to possibly help them. If some, and I will say there's some situations where there's nothing can be done, right? At least not up front, at least not that you can see. When we talk about getting it under contract, there are times when we don't know what to offer, or sometimes don't know what situation is, because these are houses that foreclosures, one is pretty straightforward, but probates, right? Those that have lost family members, and there's a lot of history behind a lot of these houses. When we talk about getting it under contract, that's you negotiating with the seller. Hey, Rachel, I know you want $100,000 for this house, maybe need some repairs, so let's settle on 80,000, whatever that number is. She says yes, and we literally fill out a TREC contract. So we use TREC contracts, TREC, in Texas here. The reason we use that contract, and this is something that you can find online, is because we never like anyone to question our integrity. Whenever we show up to a house, we want you to know that we're honest, that we're looking to do business the right way. So we use local attorneys, title companies, because if Rachel doesn't feel comfortable or something, she wakes up in the middle of the night calling me and say, Chris, where's the title company? I want to ask them questions. Hey, you can either go in person or you can call this number, and it's a local number, right? That's really, when you talk about building rapport, you're not leaving any questions, any doubts in their mind. And that contract, you're filling it out, sending that contract to title, and then opening up title, going through the process. And that's not saying I have a property under contract, but someone else is selling it, right? It's so it's a big difference, but that's what it means, is you negotiated a price that both of you can agree on, and then you send that off to title.
Okay, so Rachel, walk us through step by step, or not all the steps, but kind of walk us through step by step how to get a property off market and under contract. So what does that look like from beginning, middle to end?
So I guess I'll pick a door knocking scenario.
Okay.
So we'll pull our list and make a route of where we want to go door knocking. So we try and stay kind of in the same area just to make things easier for ourselves. So we'll look up in our list to see if there's maybe a zip code that has a lot of properties. So then, and we'll choose a date. So let's just say a Saturday morning. We're going to go door knocking on a Saturday morning. So Friday night, we'll get our list ready, and we will print out either letters or postcards or something. So just in case they don't answer, we can leave something behind. That way they know that we were there. So we will get those ahead of time, and then we'll go ahead and map our route, and we'll just wear comfortable but professional clothing so we don't look crazy out there. And just start door knocking. We always door knock together because we're a boy and a girl. If it's just going to be me with another girl, he's kind of in the background somewhere just watching over us, because there are a lot of very upset people. So always be careful when you're out there. And we just go out, knock on doors, step back, and have a conversation. And I think a lot of people are really intimidated, with door knocking, because it can be scary, but in the end, it really is just having a conversation. And a lot of the people, when you show up, they have no idea they're under foreclosure. Maybe their spouse takes care of all the bills, and it's alarming to them. Sometimes it's really sad because you're bringing bad news to them sometimes. So you just kind of help them. Hey, you know what? It's okay. Why you do this for a living? I can help you. I just need a few minutes of your time. And a lot of the times they're upset, and it's okay as well. I always say you just put yourself in their shoes. It's a frustrating situation. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. But always just reassure them that you're there to help. And if they allow you the opportunity to help, so in this scenario, we're going to pretend like they did, right? So then you can ask them to come in and take a little bit more of their time. Then you can give them options. It's a lot of questions and answers at this point in time. So how much do you owe? How many months are you behind? Do you know how much is owed on the property? Do you know what your interest rates are? Things like that. And then you could just kind of tell them, hey, I don't really know what's going on right now, but if you allow me time, I could do a little bit more homework, or just give yourself a few minutes. If you're already there, say, hey, you know what? I want to be completely fair with you. Let me go ahead and look up houses in your area. And a lot of the times, if you're really prepared, you kind of do that beforehand, right? The night before, when you're preparing your list and so forth, you kind of look at the properties in the area and figure out how much they're being sold for. So then, based upon what they tell you, you can make them an offer, or you could schedule a follow-up with them, whatever is easier. The thing about that first meeting is building that rapport, right? You want them to trust you. You want to trust them that they're going to do what they need to do and you're going to do what you need to do. And then once that rapport is going and so forth, and sometimes it takes a long time to be there, but if they gave you that opportunity to be there, you definitely want to take advantage of it. And you want to tell them that you have a contract and you can move forward as long as this contract is filled. And most of the time, if you've built that rapport, they will go along with it because you're sometimes their first light at the end of the tunnel, right? So once you get that filled out, then you go home and send that to the title company, and then they start telling you history about the property. And then you as an investor decide what's best for you, what's best for them, and how you're going to approach the situation. So there's a lot of what ifs, and there's a lot of scenarios that we like to look at before we make a final decision. And not every investor is the same, but we definitely like to look at what if we go about it this approach, and what if we go about it this approach. And then, so let's just say for this scenario, we decide, okay, we're going to go ahead and buy it from them and we're going to flip it. Right? We make the decision that we're going to flip the property. So then we have a construction company, so it's a little bit easier for us. So we just kind of call ourselves and tell ourselves, hey, we're going to need this property fixed. And we just start the process of fixing it. I am the one that kind of does a lot of the deciding what color it's going to be, how is it going to look. Always keep in mind the property's not for you. You're not going to live there. And it has to appeal to a lot of people, right? You want to have as many people look at your property and imagine themselves in it. So I do try and keep the property really neutral, but pretty. Neutral to where just any woman can come in and say, oh, I love this kitchen. I can see myself cooking in this kitchen, or I love this bathroom. I can see myself bathing here. And then, yeah, in the end, we do use realtors to actually sell our properties. We do try and give as many people an opportunity to better themselves through this process of real estate investing. So we do use realtors. They're professionals. They know exactly what to do. And that's another thing. We build great relationships with realtors. And in the end, I mean, it's to this day, we haven't had a bad experience.
That kind of answers my next question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Have you two received pushback because you are not real estate agents whenever you are speaking to people about purchasing their home?
Yeah, so unfortunately, in every business, there are people who do wrong, right? We're not honest. And I always say, no matter how big the world is, it's still so small, right? Word gets around. So yes, there's a lot of pushback. One thing we have to understand is a lot of these big gurus, a lot of these other training, courses will tell you, get the contract, get the contract, get the contract. The truth is if I come to you and say, hey, all of this is going on with your house, and you're like, what the heck? I didn't even know, or I know, but I can't make a decision right now because this is a big decision. Mm-hmm. We feel it's best to build that rapport with the person and get them comfortable. It's not like going to, I don't know, your favorite restaurant and, hey, do you want the number one or number two? Okay, I can make a quick decision. This is selling your house, something big, right? That's happening. So it may not be that easy, but yes, with these, we have different situations where we have to kind of step back and let you make a decision. And then with other people, we're really not afraid of competition because we know what we have to offer. And if you started any business with that scarcity mindset already, it's not the best.
But to go back to your question, I don't I think since we, from the beginning, say we're real estate
Yeah.
investors, um, they understand we're not realtors. So I don't think it's really ever played a part. Maybe for other people it has. I'm
Mhm.
not saying it's not possible, but we don't say we're going to sell your house either. Where chances are we want to buy the house.
Mhm.
And so, no, we ourselves have not run into a situation where they don't trust us because we're not realtors.
But again, some of these people already understand the realtors take longer to post it, to sell it, to go through the process. An
Right.
investor can come in right away and say, hey, do you like the offer? Yes, no, and then move forward.
Okay. Okay. What are some key clauses that people need to have in their contracts as real estate investors?
A lot on the special provisions area, I don't like it because they've shortened it, right? You used to be able to type in a lot, write in a lot, but they've eliminated some lines. It's really, you have to, once you negotiate with the seller what's going to happen,
Hmm.
if it's not on paper, it's not going to happen. What I mean by that is, hey, seller, how much time do you need to move out? Okay, I need a week, right? I'm going to leave all my possessions here, or I'm going to take all my possessions, or I'm going to pay you a certain amount of money now, you know, after we close, right? Let's say we were going to pay them $100,000. Seller, I'll give you a week or two to move out, just like you said. I'll pay you half of it or a percentage up front at closing. So if it's 100,000, let's say we pay them half, 50,000. When you move out and we come inspect the house, assuming you didn't destroy it or anything, right? It's in the same condition, then you get your $50,000 when you move out.
Okay. So that's some of the information that needs to be in the
Yes.
contract.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be that wordy, of course. It's just quick, hey, seller agrees to stay here for a week or needs a week to move out. Half will be upfront of the payments, and then the other half when they move out. Something like that. Any possessions, any cars, anything, because once you close on that property, it's your property.
Mhm.
Right. So if the seller leaves and leaves cars and stuff like that, then it's yours.
Oh, wow. And you have to put that into the contract as well?
Yeah, depending on
Anything
the
left
property.
behind?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, earlier in our conversation, Rachel and Chris, you were talking about that when dealing with real estate investment, the wording and the verbiage can be very confusing. And I feel like that can be confusing for anybody. They probably do that on purpose.
Yes.
So, how do the two of you, as a family team, explain that verbiage and explain that language in a way that the common person can understand?
Well, we have kids.
Okay.
I
Okay.
always, and I always say she's the brains of the operation. I'm the beauty.
So
But
honestly, I mean, our kids ask us questions about our business all the time. I remember the first time our oldest asked us, "What's a foreclosure?" And we explained it to him and he understood. And honestly, that's just how we talk to everyone.
and not
And not in a bad way,
no.
but not because we feel like they're children or anything like that, but I think we present ourselves just like any other person, their next door neighbor, somebody that they meet at church, because that's just how we are.
Yeah, because
In all honesty, that's
it's
just us.
it's like English, right? We If you're going to explain something to me and I want to make sure I understand, I tell you, hey, break it down in a way that I can understand. So that contracts and everything else, there's a ton of, I mean, it's 11 pages, right? 12 pages, depending on what contract you use and how many. I mean, it's a lot. So once we realized or understood what that verbiage meant and everything, that's how we explain it to people. So then, something as simple as, a survey. Or what's a survey? Well, that's a piece of paper that shows you where your house is at, how far it goes, your property line and everything else. Right. And so we do explain it like that. Some people already know some of this terminology, some don't, but we truly believe if you're walking out of there and they don't fully understand, especially with our Spanish speakers, if they don't fully understand, then you didn't do the right job. You want them to feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's funny. When we first started, we didn't know a lot of the terms. So foreclosure, we didn't know how to say it in Spanish. So we, of course, went ahead and Googled it.
Mhm.
And we showed up with our Spanish speakers. And when we said
The proper way.
foreclosure in Spanish, they were like, what? And I had to switch it and just be like, well, foreclosure, when you're behind, and I would explain it in Spanish. They'd be like, I understand foreclosure. I didn't understand that other word that you were saying. So,
Well, I think the mistake is we, as investors, and when we talk about door knocking, you want to show up just as a regular person, not with the suit and tie. First of all, it's hot here. I don't know if you're in Houston, you know how hot and humid it is here. You show up in a tie and everything else, and you're just sweating. But whenever you approach somebody and you speak to them, and I always say we're very blessed because we've been on both sides of the track. We've been very blessed, and we've been very poor and homeless and everything, right? So once you can relate to someone and people, that opens up a ton of doors, better than others who haven't really been through that situation.
You know what it reminded me of, and I don't know if the two of you have watched this movie, Philadelphia, with Denzel Washington and I think it's Tom Hanks, when Denzel is the lawyer and he says, "Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old."
Yeah, that's
That's exactly what I thought about when you guys were saying that, you explain it, the language and the verbiage, as if you're explaining it to your children.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you can explain it to a child and they understand, or explain it to a 5-year-old in Denzel's case, and they understand, then most likely an adult will understand as well.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question for the two of you, it's a 2-part question. The first question is, what is a contingency in a contract? The second part of that question is, how important is it to have a contingency in the contract? And which one would you say is the most important?
I mean, that's a good question. We have contingencies for, first of all, how much we're going to offer you.
Okay.
Right. So we can say, hey, I'm going to offer you $100,000 for this house. Right. I come into the property. I've already done a little bit of homework. I've already done my formulas. Hey, it's $100,000. Now, this is up front because I don't know anything about the background. Right. I don't know anything else. So when we open up title, we say, hey, $100,000 contingent on other taxes, HOA, stuff that you don't know about, that I don't know about. Right. Because I have to, if let's say for this property, my profit's going to be $20,000, right after all said and done. Well, if all kinds of other things come up in the title, in the background, and you don't pay for it, or no one pays for it, that means I have to pay for it out of my profits, and it may not be a deal. So contingent on taxes, HOA fees, all kinds of other things, other liens, mechanic liens, school liens, anything else. That's what we say, right? So we write out the contract. This buyer will receive, or seller will receive, $10,000 contingent on, title, taxes, other fees, other things, right? That's extremely important because you have to, like they say, CYA, right? Cover your own rear end. Well, it doesn't say, but you really do have to watch out, because anyone can say, hey, well, you lied to me. You lied to me. You didn't tell me this, and say, hey, wait, on my paper, contingent on this sales price or closing is contingent on, assuming everything works out, the bank moves quickly, we get surveys and everything. So I know sometimes we've gotten pushback on, hey, you said we would close on this date. Luckily for us, we put on the contract, hey, this all depends on how fast the bank moves, survey, title, everything. But so the contingency would be definitely, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, give yourself wiggle room and a way out of the contract in case something goes sideways, right?
Okay. So contingency is kind of a what if situation.
Yes.
What if this happens, then this is how we handle that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it happens a lot.
Yes.
It happens a lot. A lot of people,
I can believe that
they have a lien on their property from 10 years ago, or FEMA helped them with something and they never paid them back, or several situations do come up.
Yeah. So when those situations happen, do you pull out of the contract, or do you help them work that situation out?
Not necessarily. It just all depends on the relationship you built with them, if they can understand. So you can renegotiate, and sometimes you just terminate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
I would
talk
say just go
about
negotiate.
earnest money. Another two-part question here. What is earnest money, and how do you handle earnest money when contracting off-market properties?
Well, everything goes to title. We
Mhm.
don't ever give money to people, right? So
Okay.
earnest money, option money, all of that is just saying, hey, we promise right now, right? We're going to buy your house. We're going to give you a certain percentage, right? Whether that's 1, 2%, maybe $500. If you're more serious, then you can put down $1,000
Hmm.
per, right? Again, we're investors, not realtors. So I can offer you $100, $200, saying, hey, I'm going to send this money to title. I'm not going to ever give you money in hand. And title does all of that, and they disperse after we close or if we terminate or something. So all it's saying, hey, I promise I'm going to buy the house. This is how serious I am. I'm willing to put money down.
Hmm.
And whether I buy it or not, sometimes it's refundable, sometimes it isn't. And that's just how we keep moving.
Okay. Rachel, you guys have been doing this for years now, being real estate investors. What mistakes did you make at the beginning, and how were you able to get out of those mistakes? And the reason I'm asking is because I'm sure that a lot of the community that's listening right now want to avoid some mistakes, if at all possible. So educate us on what mistakes did y'all make at the beginning, and maybe, it's some mistakes that you're still making, and how did you work your way out of those?
Ooh, we've never made any mistakes. No, just
I
kidding.
wish.
Honestly, at the beginning, I think we were way too nice.
Okay.
Um, we believed everyone, and it hurt us quite a bit of times. The biggest scenario I could think of was we were selling a property, owner finance.
Okay.
So we were basically the bank. And we ran into a couple that they were a little bit older. They had some situations, and they said, well, we don't have the full down payment right now, but this coming month we will have it. And they said, can you please just give us a chance? I mean, we're in a dire situation. We really need somewhere to live. We're taking in my daughter and my grandbaby, and my husband has this disability. And we believed it. And in the end, it was a horrible situation. Everybody, the story changed from we're going to give it to you this coming month to everybody in our family passed, our dog got sick. Everything that you can imagine happened to this family. And they ended up staying in the property. They trashed the property. And what was it? It took about 3 months of us constantly calling them and asking them, like, please do this, please do that, because the law wasn't on our side, in all honesty, because we let them in. Finally, 3 months later, they moved out in the middle of the night.
Wow.
So our fault, our mistake for trusting them, our mistake for not ensuring that they paid up front, and just our huge mistake for believing them. So I think a lot of our mistakes up front have been just having a really trustworthy heart and thinking, oh, people aren't here to do us wrong. So yes, I would say be nice to people, but be nicer to yourself to make sure you're protected. Because not everybody is going to have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, we've heard all kinds of stories. Believe me, I mean, it's really bad out here sometimes. But you have to understand too that some of these people are in positions because they're just irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have really had life happen to them, whether it's divorce, medical issues, loss of jobs. those we feel a lot better helping, because you're actually doing right. Something as tragic has happened in their life that they can't pay. The other ones, I mean, believe me, there's professionals out there that know more about real estate than me and you, because they know the laws, they know what they can't do, and they can stay in houses. I mean, the longest we've seen, I think, a lady, 8 years or so?
8 years.
I mean, just, they
Wow.
know how to play the game. They know how to play. So in the beginning, you're, oh man, I feel so bad for them. Then after a while, it's like, well,
That, and then another suggestion I would say is always make sure about your numbers, and don't ever say, well, don't ever take your best case scenario, right? So if you look at a property and you think, oh, well, this property can sell for 500,000, but you're like, oh, maybe I could get 515,000. Well, you're probably safer going with your 500,000 that you originally thought, because the market changes. There just so many things can change, and always I like to be conservative, because I think when you over hope for something to happen, it doesn't always happen. And then you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation that you can't recover.
Yeah, because the seller's going to get what they want. They don't care, right? At the end, we're the ones stuck with this, so we got to deal with that. Yeah.
Let's talk about running the numbers, Rachel. What's the first calculation you run when analyzing a property?
The first one I run is what I believe the property could be sold for once I repair it.
Okay. And how is there a computer system that you use, or is it pen and paper?
That's a secret we can't share.
Honestly, I do it old school way. I have a little notebook.
So I guess that's a two-part answer, right? That's
Okay.
a two-part answer. So up front, it's no secret that consistency builds a business, no matter what it is. Second,
Right.
in real estate, we use, the 70% rule. We use 80%, whatever. So if you want to do a true maybe fix and flip, then you get ARV, after repair value, like she said, what we can sell it for, times 70%, and then minus repairs, which will get you whatever that number is. That's kind of what we start at. So that formula you should know like the back of your hand. Whether you're
Okay, can you repeat that formula for us one more time? A little slower, Chris. I want to make sure that everyone hears it and understands it.
So ARV is after repair value. That's what she said when she looks at comps. That's the most money that you can sell that house for after it's repaired.
Okay.
Okay, so ARV. And then once I have my ARV, knowing, so let's say, for instance, it's a $250,000 home, right? If my ARV, or for simple math, let's keep it at $100,000. $100,000, if I am running my comps and my numbers at 70%, you take $100,000 times 70%, right? Multiply that, and that gives you your $70,000, right? So 100,000 times 70%, that's 70,000. $70,000 I can offer you, assuming the house needs zero repairs, it's ready to go. I don't need to do anything else. So the $30,000, right, that's there, is not necessarily profit. You have to understand you've got bills to pay, you've got taxes, you've got HOA, you've got all kinds of other fees that you're going to pay. Now, ARV times 70% leaves you at the 70,000. If it's not in good repair, then you have to deduct from that $100,000 or the 70,000 the repair. So in this instance, let's say it's 20,000 in repair, right? So 70,000 minus 20,000 equals $50,000 now.
Okay.
So that's what I should be offering to someone if it's a true fix and flip, and something that I need to make the most profit out of. If you go higher than that, then your profit margin slims, right? So then after we tell them, hey, $50,000 for this house, and well, you're so cheap, it's so cheap. I said, but I'll tell you what, I'll offer you the 70,000 if you fix up the house.
Right.
If not, then I have to fix it up, right? And take that risk that it will sell for 100,000. And then I'll let Rachel take it from here, because she said she likes to be a little conservative with her numbers.
Well, right, because that's where it comes into play. Like I said before, if you look at the houses in the area, and there's one house that sold for, with the 100,000 number, that sold for 110,000, and you're like, well, hopefully I can be the one that sells it for 110. Well, yes, hopefully, but you never want to start there, right?
Right.
Because what if you can't? Then you're going to place yourself in a situation.
Oh, okay. How do you estimate repair costs? I know in your example, Chris, you said, if the repair cost is, I think you said like 20,000 or 25,000. How do you estimate that?
So
A lot, sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of people get contractors out there to give them bids.
Okay.
yeah, that's the best way to do it if you don't know. I mean, we've been doing this long enough, so we kind of know already what things cost, right? So roof, I don't know, depending on the size, $10,000, foundation, maybe another 10, 12, depends on what it is. So this is through education. Don't I always say HGTV is great, but they show you, you can buy a house and fix it up and sell it in an hour, right?
I
They
That's
they buy
true.
the ugly tear down, then they make it look beautiful, and then they go off budget sometimes, and then they make 100 grand. I tell you, if you can get some of those houses, let me know, because if I can do all those in an hour. And I think that's what a lot of investors where they come in and say, hey, I can do the same house for that. That's kind of how we got started with our journey, but maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah.
How did you, I mean, that's a great follow-up question, Chris. How did you guys get started becoming real estate investors? Do you have to take a class or pass a test, or what is that kind of process?
So no test, but we ourselves educated ourselves with other people that have already been doing it. So we paid money
Hmm.
to take classes with real estate investors.
Okay.
And in all honesty, I mean, some people choose to just watch YouTube, to watch podcasts, which is all great, right? You learn a lot. I mean, today we're giving a lot of information.
For
But
free, I might add.
yes, exactly. But a lot of the times you do need real life scenarios. You do need somebody to hold you by the hand and actually teach you how to do it. You need somebody to take you to a property and say, hey, this is what you look for when you're at a property. This means you might need foundation work. This means, or look at the roof, it needs a new roof, or look at what the gutters have done. Things like that are really, really important. So, although it's great to get free information and so forth, we definitely would say educate yourself.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, learn from people who have been doing it, possibly partner with people who are doing it that have been successful. Um, just just be careful who you do business with. And we educated ourselves and we paid quite a bit of money to get educated. So was it worth it? Yes, definitely. Would we do it again the same way? I think so.
Yeah. Yeah,
We would.
because it believe it or not, as much as we spent on education, and the number will blow your mind. Um, we could have we could have made mistakes that cost far more than that, right?
Mm.
We don't want to be a one and done. A lot of people just watch. One of our students, he says he's a YouTube graduate, right, Lester? And so he says, because I watched all the videos, I've done it all, but when I still didn't know how to do it. So we truly believe, not only because we have a coaching program, but if you're not going to educate yourself, you can spend years and years and years trying to figure things out. And again, not everyone's willing to share information. Some of these groups to join some of these programs cost $100,000, up to
Wow.
$100,000 to teach you how to do this. So you range from 20, 50, $100,000. So that'll kind of tell you how much we've spent in education. And after coaching for the large organization that we were with for 3 years, we decided to start our own coaching program, because we understand that a lot of people, companies give you all the information and
Hmm.
then go figure it out, right? Okay, what do I do now? Right. And so it's that's why I always say educate yourself, find good, solid people that you can work with, and go from there.
So I have a few more questions for you, Rachel and Chris, before we say goodbye. How do you know when to walk away from a deal? And I feel like emotionally it's probably hard.
It
Yeah, it
can
is.
be. It can be. Sometimes you find a deal or a person that you just want to help them and you want to
Yes.
do whatever it takes to help them. And just recently, I think there was a gentleman that said, I'll fix the house, I'll do this, I'll
Mhm.
do that. And we were thinking of ways, okay, how can we help them? How can we help them? And in the end, we had to walk away because the numbers didn't make sense, right? The numbers didn't make sense. We were like, yes, he's going to walk out of this. He's going to be great, right? He's going to have a little bit of money in his pocket. But in the end, we're taking on all this risk. And the chances of us making any profit are slim to none. But the chances of us losing money
Mm,
are more than likely going to happen. So,
And then the lender, right?
right. And at that point in time, we didn't have the money to pay this gentleman what he wanted. And we thought, okay, we could just borrow the money. And then we thought, no lender is going to lend on this. And that's another tip. If you find a lender,
If you find a great deal, right, a
a
great deal,
great deal, lenders will want to lend you money. And if you find a deal that's,
still a great deal in your eyes.
but a lender says, no, I can't lend you the money, there's more than likely a reason why they don't want to lend you the money. They're not going to risk it to make a deal happen.
Because they're the
So,
professionals. They run their numbers. These guys lend money for a living. They know real estate.
yeah. And so just our hearts kind of tug sometimes still, even to this day. Like we really want to help people, but we have to kind of take a step back and say, are we really helping them? Yes. But are we helping ourselves too? It has to be fair. It has to be fair. It has to benefit them and it has to benefit us.
how do you get the emotional side of it out and just focus on the business side? Is that possible?
Well, she lives with me, so she's cold hearted now.
Yeah.
You've been there a long time. So it is in the beginning. I will tell you, for instance, the foreclosure list is a lot of heartache. People have gone through stuff, and most people can't do that, right? They can't
Mhm.
because they're so emotionally tied to it. Um, it's almost as if you have to sit there and I like say, just shut up and listen. And as you're listening, you're not judging, but you're already thinking, what can I do to help this person? If
Mhm.
I can help them, then I'll move forward. If not, hey, you know what? I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry this is happening to you. I personally can't help you right now. Maybe I can find someone else who can help you. And doing that will open up other doors, but that's how you really get to separating yourself emotionally. You can't go in there expecting to help them out and solve all their problems. Does that make sense? It's just
Yes.
like kids, they grow up, and anyone, your family members, your brothers, sisters, you kind of have to push them out in the world and let them experience what they need to experience because you can't save them all the time, right? And that's really how we're able to separate ourselves emotionally, is we've been doing this so long that we understand at the end of the day, we either can help you or can't help you. We can help you by listening to you and just saying, hey, there's nothing I can do. We're listening to you and say, hey, you know what? I think there is a solution, but these are the steps we have to take. It's not easy, believe me, especially if you're very emotional, you want to help, you have that heart. But the truth is you can't help everyone. The long
Okay.
Mhm.
So Rachel and Chris, the two of you have been doing this for years. It's your family, it's your business as well. At this point in time where you are in your life and in your business, what is your intention in this space being real estate investors?
I would say leaving some type of legacy for our children, in all honesty.
Mm,
Um, Having them say, hey, mom and dad worked really hard to do what they did and spend time with us, but yet teach us stuff about life and future and the fact that we have to have a plan. So I think it's all kind of intertwined. I think being there for them, helping as many people as we can while still providing for our own family and doing it with integrity and knowing that the reason why we did it was with a good, pure heart and actually trying to help people. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's just
is kind of the goal. And with our coaching is helping others do what we're doing for their family and helping other people, because there's so many people that need help. There's so many people under all these lists that we talk about. There's so many people going through situations. So there's never not someone that we could help, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's always someone to help. And I think just helping others help those people is one of the things we really want to do too.
Yeah. And you talked about us being the first couple. That's what we started. So our business, if you don't mind, is Candid REI Coaching. We're going to tell you the truth. We're not going to tell you you're going to be a millionaire in a day or two or a month or two. Now, depending on what resources you have and how much you work at this, all of it's possible, believe me. But we want you to know the truth and to tell you that this is a business. This is tough, but consistency. And we love to coach couples, right? Because you have one that's on board, the other one that isn't, and then bringing them together, and then individuals too, right? We all need a support team, no matter which business you're starting. If you're coming in this by yourself, no other person with you, you still need a support team. And especially if you're husband and wife or spouses or something, if both of you aren't on board, it's really tough.
Yeah. Okay. So my final question for the two of you, who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast? But you have to help me get them on.
How much? Dinner, okay. We can probably Alex, right? Alex Vance.
I think so. I think Alex, his name is Alex Velasco. He would be great to speak with. He is an incredible human being. First of all, he's created a business with his daughter. So he's definitely doing the family thing that we like. He's been successful at his other companies. And now he's tackling real estate investing. And him and his daughter are also, her name is Angela. They are creating, I guess, a marketing tool that is doing amazing things for investors. So I think Alex and Angela would be great guests for you.
Oh, that would be perfect. That would be my first father-daughter. More history on the Crystal Peaches podcast. I love it. Rachel and Chris, you guys have been amazing on this episode. You have given so much information. Free information about real estate investing, how to do it, what not to do, what to look for. And I am so appreciative of it.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd love to be back in the future.
Absolutely. Let's try to make that happen. Let's put our brains together and see what our next topic will be.
Sounds good.
To my community, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. You can get Rachel and Chris's podcast on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.